right. I understand I got to take a break from the nice sunny South Florida area and share with y'all what it means to be involved in project-based learning. You might ask the question, what is project-based learning, or PBL for short? Project-based learning is a dynamic approach to teaching students real-world problems and challenges. With this type of activity, there's engaged learning. Students are inspired to obtain a deeper knowledge of subjects they're studying. All right, somebody might ask the question, is there history behind this new strategy? Well, of course there is. Confucius and Aristotle were early proponents of learning by doing. Socrates modeled how to learn through questioning and inquiry, and critical learning and critical thinking. All these strategies that remain very relevant to today's PBL classroom. So you might say, well, what do experts think? What do experts ask? A good friend of mine, Sylvia, out of the University of Alberta, stated one of the major advantages of project-based learning is that it makes school fun. Oh, who would ever think of such? Like, why? Who would want to have fun in school? She talked about real life, in that we don't spend several hours listening to authorities talk about what they know and tell us exactly what they know. We need to be able to ask questions of a person, what they're learning, and then we need to be able to link that to what we already know. And we need to be able to bring that back and those experiences that we have, and then let that stay in front of our mind and we talk about it. That's what Sylvia said. Now, somebody might ask the question, well, can this work in math? Of course. Another good friend of mine, Vicky, she co-authored the book or this blog about Cool Cat Teacher. She said that in order to understand collaboration, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's global, students also have to work out problems, those problems that they have with one another. And while they're doing that, working with one another, then they're able to understand interpersonal struggles between students and the problems in a sense of understanding rather than just hearing it come from somebody over and over and over. Having a real life problem, and then just having that teacher as a coach that will help them understand and go through what they're doing and having those skills to be able to survive and strive in the real world. What does research say? I saw that on your thought process there, Mr. Stewart, you genius you. But you know what it said? It said that students remember contents within a longer time frame. Did you know that it said that PBL students also view themselves as being better prepared in problem solving? And they perform better. And their understanding, they're able to emphasize their understanding better. And all that's necessary when it comes down to understanding knowledge. So now, I got some hints I might want to share with you as you embrace upon understanding PBL. Four things you want to understand and you want to remember. Four things, you got it? Four things. The first one, start small. Start small. Don't go crazy. Instead of taking a million standards and trying to understand a million standards, just take and focus on a few powerful standards. And concentrate on that one subject area rather than a multitude of disciplines. Second, plan now. If you plan now, then perhaps You won't get lost in the mix, trying to do all this and trying to do all that. What you do is you plan up front. And then you also plan with the end in mind. Don't forget that part. And so that when you're ready to introduce this to the classroom, then you're all ready and you're all set. Third thing that's important, limit your technology. I know, Miss Fall. Limit your technology. Anyway, in the beginning, limit your technology. We all love technology, but sometimes we get too tech happy, Miss Fall. But when you're doing PBL for the first time, just kind of limit what you're doing so that you can get the understanding of the design and implementation of it. And then as you plan and as you get more used to it, then perhaps you can start engaging some technology into this piece and understand it a little better. Okay, I hear you, I'm coming. Fourth and final, please know the difference between projects and project-based learning. Can't stress it enough. It's as simple as the project itself is the learning, not the dessert. It's the learning. If you're doing projects in the classroom, you may or may not be doing PBL. In fact, many teachers think they're doing PBL and they're doing projects. So I would suggest that if you want a quick way to make sure you're meeting the essential standards and elements of PBL, go to another good friend of mine. He has a website. It's called the Buck Institute for Educators, and it talks about PBL, and it has a checklist. Why don't you do that before you get carried away and find out from your administrator that what you're doing ain't working? Now, about that homework. There's several articles you're supposed to read before going to class tomorrow. So get busy. I believe that my TA gave you this information during the session today. Anyway, happy reading. Make certain that you take time to reflect what PBL will look like in your classroom. And lastly, as we all say in South Florida, it's a cane thing. It's all about the you. Peace.